Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm glad you could make it. Today we're going to talk about paper and pencils, and are they all created equal? Well, I found out the answer is no. When I first started coloring, I just needed to grab something. I needed to relax, I needed to clear my mind and do something creative that didn't take a lot of thought process. So I had these Spectrum Noir pencils just laying around for the last couple years, never touched them. I bought them when the coloring craze first started, but I never got around to it. And then I did some digging and I found this old coloring book. I have no idea where I bought it from, and started coloring. I really enjoyed myself. I had a lot of fun picking the colors and testing them out. But as I went along and learned more about coloring and different techniques, I found that I couldn't really get a good layer of pencil color on here, and the colors wouldn't blend very well, and it was just streaky and smeary. It isn't exactly what I wanted. So I explored some options. I was thinking, well, maybe it's the pencils. I don't think so. I think it's the paper, because when I was testing out our color along, I tried them on. This paper is Neenah Cardstock, 67-pound Bristol. This came highly recommended from some other YouTubers, so I thought I'd give it a try. And so I printed out this color page and started using my Spectrum Noir pencils on here, and it laid down pretty good, and as I practiced my technique, I really liked it. I wanted something a little more with more oomph to the color, so then I tried the Prismacolors that I had gotten in a kit, and that's exactly what I wanted. So you're gonna have to play around with different papers and different pencils to see what you like the most. But like I said, the Spectrum Noir pencils laid down better on this Bristol cardstock, because then later on I went into another coloring book I bought. This is a great coloring book. It's called Flowerscape, and it has all kinds of different flowers in there. And what I decided to do was use this coloring book to test my pencils out, because it's a smoother base than you would find on the cardstock or any of the other high-end papers you might buy. So I tried the Spectrum Noir in this book, and this is on this side. I wanted to compare my Magic Fly pencils that I had purchased, which were oil-based, compared to the wax-based Spectrum Noir. And I had the same problem in here where the color wouldn't stick. I couldn't get any depth of color. It was smearing, and the blending was not as good in this book as it was on the cardstock. So as we travel along in this journey, I will use different papers, different pencils, and we'll see how it goes. I'll give you my recommendations as we go along. And I found out I love paper just as much as pencils. And here are all the different papers I have bought for us to try out. These first two are your basic Bristol Vellum surface. It's generic. Most of the time I will use this to practice different colors and coloring techniques on. We probably will use them every now and then, but then we get into the fun papers. Coal black. I think I'm going to use this for our Halloween pictures, but it's a nice dark black. And this is a Strathmore. The other was Strathmore. This is going to be a little more sturdy, more tooth, because it's a 400 series and the generic was 300 series. So we've got black. We'll be using that coming up for Halloween. Then we've got the Tone Tan. This is a nice one. Use this for all different types of coloring pages. And then we've got the gray. I'm planning on doing an elephant coming up towards the end of the year, I believe. I think the elephant would go great on this. Then we have the blue, which I'm thinking I might use for the parrots this week. I don't know, it's not quite as blue as I thought. I may change my mind, but I think I might put one of the parrots on here. We have pastel paper. I think I have a little cheap set of pastels that I might try out on here. You can also use, oh look, there's the better blue for the parrot. I might use this because you can use this pastel paper for colored pencils. It's got a little rougher texture, and that way you can add more layers of color. So that's pastel paper, and maybe in the future I'll get some more pastels and we'll test that out. I have watercolor paper. This will come in handy like with watercolor pencils. I want to give those a try. Once again, I have a cheap set that I've had forever and never tried out, so maybe we can try that out together and see how that works. But you can also use this watercolor paper for colored pencil. It just has more of a tooth in it. This will also work well for alcohol markers or water-based markers. So I'm sure we'll be using this in the future. And then I also got some of the Strathmore watercolor paper. And the difference is this is cold press and this is hot press. And I'm not really sure what the difference is, but I want to try it out and see. To me, this feels like it's a little thicker and it's got more tooth to it than this paper. So this is the hot press, this is the cold press. Cold press has more texture and tooth to it than the hot press. So we'll have to test those out. And this is, I just want to make sure, this is 140 pounds and hot press is 140 pounds. So they're both the same weight, it just one feels thicker and has more texture than the other. So, and then we have got the generic Strathmore colored pencil paper. And this has perforations in it so you can tear it out when you're done coloring your page. And I'm going to try running some of these through my printer, and see how it works. Another way to do that is to transfer your coloring page onto this paper, and I will show you some tricks on how to do that in the next couple of weeks, because we're going to get more into that, where we're going to take our coloring page and put it on a blank sheet of paper. Yeah, we're going to get more into that in the next couple of weeks, because I want to show you how to put your page onto this blank page, and then it'll be more realistic. You won't have the dark lines of the coloring page, which I particularly don't like. You can smear that black and it just doesn't give your page a very realistic look. Stay tuned for that. That's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So that's all the paper that we're going to be trying out on this channel, and I'll let you know how it goes, if I like it, if I don't like it. But now let's get into different pencils and my thoughts on that. Well, darn, I really wanted to talk to you about pencils today, but we are running out of time. Meet me back here next week and we'll go through all the current pencil sets I have and how I swatch them and store them. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when it's ready. Thanks again for joining me. We'll see you next week, and until then, have some fun.